Here's a setup guide on how you can use GoGuardian in your classroom and all of its features today. The first thing that you're going to want to keep in mind is where your classes are. So if you're just getting started, the first thing that you need to do is go over here. You'll notice that there is a option over here where it says pending. Here, I'll zoom in even a little bit further so we can see this even more closely. You'll see that there's a window right here that says pending. So if you're a teacher who's been assigned classes, you should have classrooms automatically made here. You just need to accept these classrooms. Once they go from pending to active, you'll see them all laid out right here. And I'll walk you through what you can do with these classes in just a moment. If you are in a special circumstance, you can always add a classroom and add your students to this classroom with their emails, and then you'll have your own custom classroom there. So what can you do once you have your classes here? You can see I've got all 6 of my classes here, and I'll be showing you what you can do with my homeroom today. So if you go to that class and click on Settings, the best thing that you can do is go up to Edit Class. And now you'll see that there are a lot of other options that you can get from here, but the one that we're focusing right now is Edit Class. If I go here, there's a few things that you can set. First, you can go down here and change the tile color if there's a specific way you want it to appear from your home screen, from the Classrooms tab up here. There's a few other customization options, but I generally leave these blank to make sure that I don't have anything pop up for the students that they don't need to see. And then you can hit Update Classroom. Now, we'll talk about this default scene in a moment, but right now, that's all you need to know on the Info tab. Over here, we have Scheduling. Now, scheduling is really important. This is a way that you can make sure that GoGuardian turns on every day, every hour for the duration that you want. So if I hit Add Schedule, you'll see I've got a start time, an end time, and a day of the week. Now, I want GoGuardian to be active every day of the week during the day, and these are school computers, so even if it's working on a day that they have a day off, that's okay. It's still property of the school. GoGuardian can pop on even on a day that we're off. So for homeroom, our start time is 8:15 a.m. So I'm just checking our schedule, and then our end time is 8:49 a.m. Now, I like to make it so that it can stop right at the end of the hour, but I like to have it start just a few minutes early, so that way if students are coming to my class before the bell rings, they'll still have the same expectations the entire time. So if I have, whoops, not sure why that changed. So we'll change that to 8:49. And now if I hit Add Schedule, you'll see 8:13, 8:49, it'll come on every day automatically. The next tab we have to talk about is the Reporting tab. Now this is up to your own personal preference. So these will go every hour, and as GoGuardian is running, even if you're not monitoring it, it will be monitoring what the students are doing and will keep track of every website they have active on their Chromebook throughout the class period. It is set to automatically report this to you, so it'll send you a session report email that'll come straight to your inbox. If you don't want that to happen, you can just turn it off, and you'll only be able to access that information here on GoGuardian. You won't see it in your email. So that's what you should know in the Settings tab of your classrooms. All right, now that we have our classroom set up, we can start looking at some other features that we have in GoGuardian. So if I click on this, and you'll notice there's a start class, that's only if I want to start this at a time that I don't have my scheduled class going. If I click on this when the class isn't in session, you'll see I have current and past sessions. So you can see right down here, I have all the other sessions that have been going every other day. And you can see the runtime. And if I were to click on this, you would be able to see timelines of students as they're on their Chromebooks. So you can see exactly what websites they're on and to see if they're on track. So that's one useful tool that you always have access to. And once again, we got there by going to our classrooms, and then we just clicked anywhere on the box here that's not on settings, start class, on the chat. If you click anywhere else on the box, it'll bring you right here to see the sessions. And you can see we're back on this screen where we can look at any other of these tabs, including the settings for this classroom, for in this case, my homeroom. Now that we've figured out how to set up our classrooms, we've got a scheduled start time. The next thing that you should know about is scenes. If I go to scenes, you'll see that I've got some set up already. And we've got an allowed websites list, and we have a blocked websites list. These both have their own functionalities, and this can really change depending on what your style is and what your expectations are for your students, and also the websites that they need to access in their classes, whether you want to use an allowed websites list or a blocked websites list. A blocked websites list is really useful if you want to block certain websites and allow students to have more free reign over what they do on the internet. This is really useful for things like research, where they may be accessing multiple different websites. The allowed websites list is for having students have intense focus, where they only are going on a few websites. I like to use the allowed websites list because it helps me monitor and keep track of students a lot easier than the blocked websites list. But how can we use both of these to help our classrooms and make our classrooms even more productive and focused? Let's take a look. First, let's take a look at a blocked website list. So you can see here's my list here, but if I want to create a new one, I can just hit create, and I'll name this test class. You can choose the color you want it to be, and you can add a description if you want. Now, once you've finished typing that in, you'll notice the next button is all the way up here. So click on that next button, and now we can add our lists. So if I want to block something, I can type in like youtube.com, hit search, and then you'll see it pops up right here, and I can add it. And you'll see now YouTube has been blocked in my test class. There's also a few options over here. For some of you that use the same website every day, you might want to auto open a specific tab. You can make it so when they get to your class and they open your Chromebook, it could open up your Schoology page, for example. That's a useful tool that you can use depending on what your class is. There are also quick lists. So if I want to, for example, block any of these for whatever reason, I don't know why you would want to necessarily block Kahoot, but if you wanted to, you could add Kahoot to your block list by using a quick list. It has quick lists for a lot of different useful websites like the Google Suite, which contains everything Google, or things like Study Island or Schoology that we use frequently in class. Now, let's say I want to assign a YouTube video, but I've got YouTube blocked. I can go to advanced filtering, and I can copy and paste in the exception right here. And then they will be able to allow that one specific website, even though YouTube is blocked. When you enable this scene in your classroom, it will block all of these websites. Now let's talk about an allowed websites list. To create an allowed websites list, all you have to do is click on this create list. Once again, we're in the scenes tab here. We'll give it a name, and then we'll hit next. Now, the allowed websites list is very much similar to the blocked websites, except in this case, you have to type in every website that you want it to remember. So I could type in my.isd728.org, and then that would make it so that students could access rapid identity. Now, there's an important thing that will make creating an allowed websites list much easier, because while this allows my.isd728.org, we still haven't allowed my.isd728.org/dashboard, which will pop up once they go to rapid identity. So we would have to add that separately. If you want to add a lot of websites that have different URLs, kind of like how if you go to Schoology, every different page will have a different URL. The way that you can make it so it will apply to all URLs is to add an asterisk. If I add an asterisk, I don't need both of these because the asterisk will allow anything that appears in the URL after that asterisk. Now, this is a long process if you're making an allowed list because it'll take a long time to add Schoology and all those other websites that you may be using, like eHallPass, for example. So I have created a list that you can use in your classroom that will give you a start if you want to have an allowed websites list in your classroom. So once again, that'll be a link below for you to use that as an allowed websites list for you to get started so you don't have to do this process yourself. But if you ever get in a situation where students can't access a website that you want, all you have to do is copy and paste that URL right here, and then you will be able to allow that website for them to go on. This one also has quick lists, so I can access Schoology or the Google Suite or something like Study Island, and I can add those. So now all of these 24 websites, as you can see here, all these Google websites are now allowed so students can use all those different parts of their browser in things like Gmail and Google Docs and Google Slides. That's all included here. Same with Schoology. This allows a few different parts of Schoology, so that should allow students to access the Schoology websites. So this is a really useful tool for allowing students to access things that only you want them to in your class. You can also go to advanced filtering here, and this time, let's say you want to allow YouTube except for one video. You could type in the name of the URL of a video that you don't want students watching, and it will block specifically that video. That's allowed websites list, and that's how you can use asterisks at the end of a URL to allow all URLs that start the same way but might have a different ending, like how we have our dashboard. So now that we have either an allowed websites list or a blocked websites list, we can now apply those to our classrooms. So the first thing we're going to do is go back to our classrooms. We'll go down, go to the settings again, go to edit class for the class that you want a scene to apply in every hour. Now that I'm here, you'll see down here where we changed our classroom tile earlier, there's default scene. So I can pick whichever scene that I need here, hit update classroom, and now every time in my scheduling tab, one of our scheduled classes starts up, it will automatically open up that scene. And in this case, looks like we're blocking Google for the homeroom. That's a way that every time you turn on this scene or this classroom, whenever GoGuardian boots up, it's on a schedule. You don't have to click anything. It'll just open up. It'll automatically start that scene. All right, so we've got our scenes enabled. We've got them scheduled. And now what do we do? Well, you'll see when a session is in session, or when a session is active, When a session is active, all you have to do is click on Go to Class. Now, this is just a test session that I made with a fake email. But if you go into this class, you'll have a few things that you can do. First of all, when you click on this window, normally it'll pull it up and you have a few options like being able to screenshot their screen, for example. If you screenshot their screen, it'll save them all here so you can review them later. If a student is doing something that maybe you need to keep track of, you can take a screenshot and view them here. In timelines, you can see time is actively passing by and this student is not doing anything. If they were, you would see a timeline build right here where you could see what website they were on at different times. Another great option that GoGuardian enables you to do is turn on chat. If you turn on chat, you'll be able to click on the student's name in this chat bar. You see there's the chat symbol that popped up here, and you are able to send them messages. And they're able to send you messages too. So that's a really useful feature that you can use here as well. Not only that, But you're also able to check this box right here, which it's disabled because this isn't a real student. But if you check this box, there'll be a pop-up at the bottom of your screen. From that bottom of the screen, you can choose to exclude that student from the session. Maybe they're at home sick and you don't want them to be filtered. You can exclude them from the session. You can also apply a different scene. So you can see here, I can apply a different scene for the whole class. Like I could open the test scene here, for example. So if I apply this scene, it'll apply it to the whole class. But if I click on this check mark here, I could select multiple students and apply a different scene just to those students. If I've got two different groups who need to be working on two different things, it's a really useful tool to get that accomplished. So those are your GoGuardian basics. I hope that this video has helped you no matter where you are in the process at getting your classroom set up and being ready to go and help support your students. Thanks. Have a good day.